Last time we saw Paladin, it had changed a lot. Smites could be used at range, and a lot of levels were jumbled up. Now it's been changed again, so let's see if it's perfect now. Welcome to Pack Tactics, where ranged combat reigns supreme. Just a little less for paladins now. Let's start off with smites. I've already talked about them. Link in the description for that video. But to summarize, Divine Smite is now a spell, and all smite spells cost a bonus action to be used, meaning you can only use one smite per turn. My conclusion was that the potential for Nova from paladins was reduced by a lot, as well as their DPR, because hey, Polar Master was basically made for them. By the way, I messed up the math in that video. I did some napkin mathematics on the spot. I'm sorry for making that mistake. I'm a little embarrassed about it. But anyways, my conclusion remains the same. I compared a Polar Master bonus action attack with Divine Smite and pointed out the difference was not really that big. I was too favorable to Polar Master though, because one, I forgot about the bonus action attack doing less damage, and dueling fighting style doesn't work on a glaive. Duh. I think it's obvious that I don't talk about Polar Master very much besides the quarterstaff. Anyways, the point is, it's easy to see that making Divine Smite as a bonus action disallows you to use your bonus action in any other way. This is a massive nerf, and now there's less reasons to actually smite. Moving on, most of these smites are Paladin exclusives, and they're automatically prepared for you. That means Paladins get to prepare quite a few more spells. You also get to cast one of these smites for free once per long rest. That's very nice. Shining Smite is the best one in my opinion. Speaking of spells, Paladin spellcasting was changed basically just like Ranger. Instead of cantrips, they get Weapon Mastery. Again, currently this is probably an unfavorable trade with how overpowered some cantrips are. But let's hope those get nerfed. One last thing before we continue. Find Steed is a Paladin exclusive. I'm actually really happy about that. Good job. Next up, Lay on Hands costs a bonus action too now. This is an improvement because it went from an action to a bonus action. It's now a lot better in combat, and if you have a decent few levels in Paladin, it might actually be worthwhile to use it. This next feature makes you a strong, independent Paladin who needs no DM. This video is sponsored by the Crystals of Sleth. It's a solo survival adventure for 5e. Welcome to the jungle. It's got fun and games. Find the forgotten city and plunder it for loot. The really fun thing about solo adventures like this is you can play it anytime you want, and you can play anything you want. Maybe you're new to 5e and you're too nervous to join games, then this is absolutely perfect for you. It's a good introduction into 5e mechanics before joining an actual table. All you need is a character sheet and some dice and you're set. This has plenty of replayability too, so you can make different builds and explore different places. This adventure has some unique challenges that will challenge your resources, which is the correct way to add difficulty to 5e. The Crystals of Sleth is now live on Kickstarter. Unravel the ancient mystery and survive to tell the tale. You're gonna have a good time. Back to the video. The subclass progression is back to where it used to be in 5e. I've said this 7 times now in this playtest, but in case this is your first video, my opinion is I want an earlier subclass progression. Now this is very good. Aura of Protection is now at level 6 again rather than 7 in the previous playtest. They also added some text regarding aura stacking. This is smart, but the wording could be improved. I think it would be a lot easier to say, a creature can only benefit from one aura of protection at a time, which they can choose whenever rolling a saving throw. It's not like you have to often swap or anything, but you don't necessarily need to keep on announcing it either. Abjure Foes was introduced in the last playtest. It was quite insane. Now it's been nerfed, but I think the way it's been changed is probably a good move. In the previous version, they became dazed even on a successful save. Now they need to fail for that to happen. Aura of Courage has been moved back to level 10 again. And Restoring Touch also moved back to level 14 again. Nice. On the opposite end, Aura Expansion was delayed a level. Womp womp womp. There wasn't anything exciting here in the base, but there you go. That's the base currently. Subclass time. Let's start with Oath of Devotion. Sanctuary is sadly gone from their Oath spells. Otherwise, they have mostly been reverted to their 5e states. Sacred Weapon is still basically only usable with melee weapons, because you need to juggle weapons if you play at ranged. It's not limited to melee in 5e, and while Paladins have kind of been pushed back to using melee weapons, I think they should change the feature so that any weapon you use is special for a bit. I don't like how it has to be this one thing. Dual wielding doesn't work with this. Smite of Protection was moved from level 6 to 15 and works completely differently. It now gives people half cover. This helps against dexterity AoEs, and that's nice. But I kind of feel like it's very late, especially compared to the Dancer Bard that gets mass evasion at level 6. Sure, it's a smaller AoE, but I feel like I'm kind of getting punished for not going full caster. Holy Nimbus is back to level 20, and its previously lost power has been reverted. I kinda hated the nerfs last time around, so I like this more. There really isn't much to say about Devotion, like nothing dramatic happened. Let's just move to the next one. Oath of the Glory. In 5e, it's quite boring. I kind of forgot this even existed, to be honest. Anyways, their oath spells are still terrible. Inspiring Smite has been buffed to work with any smite spells. Personally, I think this is actually quite cool. It's not like amazing or anything, but it's nice. Peerless Athlete has become a lot more usable because it lasts for an hour instead of 10 minutes now. It's still not exciting or anything, I can't really say anything here. Aura of Alacrity has become a lot more usable because its range is bigger. This is nice, but the best way to use this is for kiting enemies, which isn't a very fun strategy, especially when you're a paladin. That kind of defeats the purpose. Well, unless you're going for a very specific build. I would prefer they come up with a new aura. I still think this subclass is disappointing. They didn't really buff it up enough. Next is Oath of the Ancients. It's really good in 5e. Like, oh my god. It's so underrated. Let's see what the changes are. Nature's Wrath received a nice buff and now works in an AoE. I like it. Very good. Turn the Faithless is now Abjure Foes in the base class, so that's gone now. Oofta! Aura of Warding was completely massacred. It used to be an amazing aura, but now it's not much of anything anymore. I knew that this would get nerfed, but I didn't think it would get nerfed that hard. Oh my god. This subclass is like dead now. Undying Sentinel actually gives you a decent amount of hit points now instead of leaving you at 1 HP. That's actually kind of good. I like it. Elder Champion is now based on the size of your aura, meaning it's bigger at this point. And it's used as a bonus action. This would have been great as a capstone if it was everyone's spells, not just my spells. My spells at this level kinda suck, I'm a half caster. I'm really disappointed about the aura. I think it would be okay if they nerfed it a little bit, but killing off the aura is like unreasonable. I said a lot of things here were either okay or good, but killing off the aura just makes it really bad. Next is Oath of Vengeance. In 5e, it's probably the worst paladin subclass in the game. I might have made a lot of people mad now, because I don't think it's ever been said on YouTube. But it's true, like, the only thing people get excited about with Vengeance is like, what? Hunter's Mark and Haste? Are you kidding me? Oh, sure, and Vow of Enmity. That's basically it. Anyways, their Oath spells is still pretty bad. Them losing their Hunter's Mark is definitely a good thing because, well, they made Hunter's Mark a million times worse now. As for Vow of Enmity, it was buffed, so you can now transfer it. This is really nice. Getting advantage in general is really easy, so making this feature stronger is definitely deserved. I don't really get why you can't transfer it multiple times in one turn though, so there is room for improvement. Abjure Enemy is also gone from this subclass, replaced by Abjure Foes. Relentless Avenger is similar to Sentinel now. If the target is melee only, you can certainly mess up their turn big time. This is a pretty nice change, I kinda like it. Avenging Angel, basically the strongest part of this subclass, was nerfed to have a 10-minute duration instead of an hour. This is a 20th level capstone, and it got nerfed for no reason. I know I keep saying the same things over and over and over again in these playtests, but casters can literally turn people into dragons. And it can be a permanent effect. It's not like after like an hour it's gone. This can last for days. Who are they balancing this to? That was the subclasses. There was nothing really exciting here either. This Paladin is obviously weaker than what we had in 5e. And getting it to work with Warlock, for example, with multiclassing is going to be a lot harder. I actually think ranged Paladin might actually die now. But time will tell. End of video. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to support me on Patreon, you can. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.